Hello and welcome to Inside Edition to discuss national, regional and international issues in depth. Throughout the previous decades, the Kingdom of Bahrain has made tremendous leaps and carried out unprecedented initiatives towards modernizing and improving its educational systems and learning services. As a result, the Kingdom extended aspects of cooperation with various regional and international countries to serve its ambitious goals of providing sustainable education with the highest standards of quality. The collaboration between Bahrain and the United States in the field of education goes back to the year 1899 and continues to witness constant development until today. One of the recent fundamental pillars of such cooperation is the opening of the first comprehensive purpose-built American-style co-educational university in the kingdom last year. The American University of Bahrain offers a unique higher education journey which promotes intellectual inquiry, ethical behavior and social responsibility. To talk more about the university's academic services and experience, we are pleased to be joined here in the studio by the founding president of AUBH, Dr. Susan E. Saxton, right after this. Hello and welcome back. Joining me here in the studio is Dr. Susan Saxton. Thank you very much for being with us today. Doctor, one thing that was a big highlight last year was the opening of the AUBH. And it was such a big deal because we do have a diverse number of universities in Bahrain, but having an American university in Bahrain that is specifically built to educate in the American system was something very new to the area. I would say even to the region when we come to the GCC region. So what can you tell us about the American University of Bahrain's establishment as well as its mission, vision and programs?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. It's been a very, very exciting couple of years. Watching this institution go from dirt to what it is today has just been absolutely fascinating. First of all, the mission is, I hope, very, very clear to provide American-style education that is similar to what students might get if they travel to the U.S. or elsewhere abroad with the same American style. Right. Providing students here in Bahrain with those same opportunities to not just get the technical competency of the degrees that are in demand here in the region, but also those soft skills that make for some of the best employees.
Right.
So these skills, creativity and collaboration and problem solving and critical thinking and right. And inquiry, all of the things that make for a very dynamic, very engaged professional workforce.
Right.
And I think part of our mission is to do that, is to have the students feel a sense of social and civic responsibility, take students who are career oriented and make them the best employees that this kingdom has ever seen.
Right. One of the things that you were just saying, I mean, preparing students for the workforce in the sense of making them ready for anything that might come. I mean, with the traditional university education, there's always theoretical and then there's practical, but you don't really get those fine motor skills. What do you focus on when it comes to these specifically?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first of all, the former, we call that book smart, yeah. Right? The stuff that comes from textbooks, which is also quite good. But you have to learn about your industry. You have to learn about your career.
Right.
But what we think will make for a great employee of the future is somebody who can have a toolkit with lots of different types of skills and adapt to whatever situation is needed. A student or a graduate then who can learn to learn. And so if they can learn to learn, they can basically learn anything down the road. So they really need that skill of problem solving, figuring out what it is that they really need to adapt, and then pull from whatever toolkit that they've been adding to all of these years and apply the skill that they've honed. What's really fun about American University is that there's always a method to the madness here. We have activities that, in a fun way, really kind of hone those skills. For example, we have one of my favorite, we just had it recently, President for the Day, where somebody comes into my office for the day and they take my job.
Oh, there you go.
Yes, I know, right? It's no job security here. But what they learn is how teams work together. They learn how to communicate. They learn a little bit about stress, honestly, and problem solving, and even things we don't think about sometimes as working adults. What questions you need to ask to be able to make that decision. What it means when you sign something. Your word is your bond. You put your name on that paper and you've just made a statement.
Absolutely.
So there are little things that I think are important in every activity along the way. As I think as we talked before, we have sports. We have a sports center, and sports, as in life, they teaches you many, many lessons.
Yeah.
How to win, what happens when you lose, how to work as a team.
How to fairly compete.
Competition and healthy competition.
Yes.
So this is a very big part of who we are. We consider this to be a holistic, student-centered experience.
Yes, that's amazing. Well, how do you value the cooperation between Bahrain and the United States in the field of education specifically?
Bahrain and the United States. Well, so we have several organizations from the United States with which we work. I'll start with some of our vendors. Of course, the United States has many great vendors in educational technology. We are partners with Microsoft. We use MS Teams as our regular communication vehicle for our students as well as our staff. Amazon is a great partner with us. I'm told that I can't tell you much about that. There's some news coming up very shortly, so
there you go.
Just to wait and see for that.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here. You didn't hear it here first, but you heard it's coming first.
All right.
And we do a lot of work with the U.S. Embassy here and the American Chamber of Commerce, both of which are great guides for some of the, again, learning technologies and some great speakers. And again, organizations which know about best practices in the United States. So there's a lot of connection with U.S. organizations.
All right, amazing. How do you value the support that the Bahraini government has given in establishing the university, as well as in basically encompassing it within the educational field here in Bahrain?
Well, I could go on for a long time on this one. First of all, what really drew me to this university was the vision. The vision to help the workforce here in Bahrain, but also to become the hub for quality education in all of the GCC. And I think that this is very possible just based on the support that I've seen over the last couple of years. With great foresight, I think this kingdom saw that there was a gap locally. Many of the senior leadership and others who are here, even certainly expats, have had education from institutions around the world. And many people I have met here in region in general, not just in Bahrain, value greatly the U.S. style education. So to bring that here, I think was really amazing.
Yeah.
It's not that the institution is better or worse than anything else here. It's different from other things that are here. The American system itself is an interesting, you could actually study how the system would develop a young person.
Yeah.
The first couple of years, you're really finding yourself in school. So the American style is about 4 years, sometimes a little bit more depending on the skill sets of the student. In the first 2 years, they're finding themselves. They're taking foundational courses.
Right.
We call these general education, or some people call them liberal arts and humanities. And they're learning about themselves, really, and learning about history and mathematics and kind of the skill sets that are foundational for most careers. And they don't have to decide what major they actually need to select until maybe somewhere into that second year. Sometimes it's after the second year.
Right.
And this is a really great thing, because if you think about it, I don't know, when you graduated high school, did you know what you wanted to do?
Not really.
No, a lot of students don't. And I ask this question at orientation a lot, and students generally don't know. They know what their father does, they know what their uncle does, they know what somebody in their family is doing for a career, especially if they have a family business. But they don't always see where they fit into the world. Absolutely. So this gives them 2 really good years of, as I said, not just taking courses, but mentoring, but sports, teamwork, collaboration, discovering different types of industries. Our job is to expose them. We give them shadowing experience, as I was just telling you about for President for the Day. Just different activities that bring out their leadership skills, if they have them. They make their friends. They have social experiences that start to shape them outside of what they have been used to with their families.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really important. I myself am American educated, so I know the difference when it comes to having that education where you have the practical part extensively as well as the theoretical. So having that practice, where as a mass communication major, we trained in radio stations, we trained in TV stations, and us being a part of that entity and being part of that team team and everything did sort of sculpt us into what we have become and what we've chosen for our future. So I'm sold on the American education system.
I've got a program for you anytime you're ready.
There you go. The American University of Bahrain has a special academic philosophy that provides students with a unique 360 educational experience. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's a little bit as I've described. There's just so many aspects to education in general, from learning how to communicate with others to learning to lead. Our students are in the process of discovery. The sports has a lot to do with it. Yeah. They can try things. They can try things in a safe environment, a very student-centric environment. I think one of the most important things that we have on our campus, and it's especially prominent now as we've just started, is there's a tremendous amount of mentorship available. Yeah. And that goes from their faculty who are with them most days in their classes to any of our staff. We have a lot of interaction. And if you watch social media at all, you know that all of us, including myself, we're all out there. Yeah. We're all showing up for these students because they are the most important part of the school. I mean, we have an amazing campus. When it's the energy on it is palpable. You'll know when you walk on this campus that you've just entered some kind of a Shangri-La. I mean, it's just really lovely. 9 buildings, 75,000 square meters. It's beautiful trees, 200 and something of them, lots of colors, water designs. It's absolutely beautiful. But when the students aren't there, it's a very lonely place. Yes. When the students are there, you see this dynamic environment there. People walking around with smiles and waving and laughing and having fun. And they're learning, of course, in and out of the classroom. So even the part about having fun and getting together in the student commons and playing games with each other. We just recently had a competition with ping pong and some other things in the student center, at a safe distance. And the students just love being there. Yeah. I will say one thing. I know this is a super long answer, but you can see that there's a tremendous amount of passion. Yes. I'm not the only one who has it on our campus. Yeah. Our students have started to come to campus and be with their classmates in a room where they're actually dialed in online to some parts of their classes. This is an interesting phenomenon I've seen. And we give an option. We have a synchronous dual modality mode now where students can come to class and sit at a safe distance with their faculty members, or they can stay home and take the class remotely. The rooms are set up at a safe distance, but also with multiple cameras, so they can see the instructor, they can see the students in the class as well. So they feel really engaged. But some of them really want that other aspect of socialization. So they will take the class online and have all of those advantages, but be still in proximity of their friends and have a cup of coffee in between. There you go. Yeah, it's just amazing. It's sort of a new form of modality.
Yeah. I mean, nice. I do understand that. I mean, when in times of COVID, you always have to come up with these new ways of being part of the society. And it is difficult when you're at the university like that, that provides you with all of like a safe haven, with education, with your friends and all of that. Even like when you graduate, it's difficult to integrate yourself into the workforce and leave the educational phase of life. So that would be my next question. When it comes to the workforce, how are your cooperations with the local institutions? How do you prepare your graduates in the future to go and enter that workforce?
Well, again, besides the technical skills, of course, they would have employment skills. We would, not unlike other institutions here, have a series of internships and experiences with those organizations. Mm-hmm. When we first arrived here, we met with a number of organizations locally to first of all understand what it is the employers want. Yeah. And that's the first step, is to find that out. And we always know a little bit about this. If you've been in educational institutions for some time, training professionals, you know a little bit about what is expected of a new graduate versus somebody in the workforce who's a little bit more mature. But every country, every organization, every company, it has its own preferences. Right. So we learned a lot about those skill sets, and we tried to envelop a lot of those characteristics into the degree program. And where we couldn't have all of them there, we tried to get them in other types of activities, speaker series and even some parties and events we've had. We engage the students in those so that they feel not like they're just in school, but they're part of a business. Right. We, as I mentioned, we have this beautiful campus. We want the community to feel that this is also their home. Right. The students are already feeling that it's their home, and again, another form of learning, because now they have another home that they need to take care of and be proud of. But the businesses who visit, we want them also to see themselves on our campus, to see our campus as a source of really great future employees. So they then get engaged. They then maybe provide scholarships or provide an experience or provide a speaker that can come and speak with the students. So it's very, very important for us to not only be engaged with the organizations locally from the beginning, but to stay engaged throughout the process of the students' degree learning. Yeah. And then, of course, even after they graduate, we want to know how they're doing. Did we do what we say we were going to do? Did we deliver on the promise? Yeah, it's very, very important.
It is very important. That's on the local and regional level. Also on the international level, you guys do prepare the students for what's coming up. And specifically, I want to ask about how you contribute to achieving the National 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, whether it's on the national level or the international UN goals.
Well, so I think, again, by creating this socially and civic-minded workforce, I think we do that. Our students are, again, not just going to learn an industry and be successful in their career, but they should be global citizens. Yeah. We think this is very important, and I think that checks a lot of boxes on most of those goals. Also, we have a very special relationship that will help us to do this as well, and that is with a university in the United States. We're getting ready to initiate our partnership with the California State University at Northridge. Right. And if you look at their website, you'll see that they also have a number of goals that satisfy a lot of international requirements and desires for what we call these globally minded citizens. Yeah. And we intend to borrow a little bit from that and to collaborate with them on not just the programs, but those things that make these students mobile, able to deal with all kinds of situations that will come up in their future. And I guess hopefully helping our students to see that the world actually can be a smaller place. It's when you've been traveling and when you've been communicating with students online and on campus from different parts of the world, it changes how you think. Right. So I think more than anything, we're providing the students with this global outlook as a way to accommodate the sustainable goals.
Perfect. In performing its duties, the AUBH deals and cooperates with various institutions. You mentioned the university in the US, but also locally in Bahrain. How do you value these collaborations, and how does it contribute positively to achieving the aspired goals?
Well, as I mentioned, we consider ourselves part of the community here. So these organizations surrounding us and supporting us are so important. This going to probably sound a little bit funny, but a big shout out to our boards. Our boards are the most supportive boards I have ever had the pleasure to work with. They're amazing. We have a board of trustees and a board of directors, and they're comprised of professionals who know all about international education. And it's just, it's amazing support. Especially when you're the person here in charge of steering the institution one way or another. So all of those people who I consider to be pretty close colleagues are part of other organizations here locally. So by working with them, I get the advantage of working also with those organizations. We are part of the Mumtalakat portfolio. Okay. So I consider everybody in the Mumtalakat portfolio to be a sister company of AUBH. And that's just an amazing place to be when you're a new organization.
That by itself is like a
let me just stop there. AUBH, part of the Mumtalakat portfolio. Amazing, because again, when you're calling, it's like calling a member of your family to ask for something, some guidance or some assistance or just a point of view about what we're doing. So one of the things that I think I'm most proud of in working with this institution is the amazing camaraderie, the amazing assistance we're getting from all of these organizations, and just so many people wanting to help us and wanting to help our students to be successful.
Yeah. I see that. I mean, when it comes to the students that come and apply to AUBH, what are you looking for exactly from the student that comes in to apply for the several different programs that you have there?
This is a great question because I don't think the answer is an obvious one. I think most schools would say we want students who are who are very bright and have a good grade point average, very dedicated and all of those things, and we like that as well. But I think what's very important for our students to know, we're not looking for a student that checks boxes. We're not looking for a student we define by their GPA. We're looking for a student who really is dedicated to making themselves the best that they can be. We have a tagline, a lifetime of success. We mean it. These students, when they come, we want them to be energized. We want them to find their passion. We want them to take advantage of every single thing we have to offer. And we want them to enjoy it. Of course, we want them to work hard, but we want them to have fun as well. When all of those things come together, these students will find themselves in an amazing place with a really great career, something that they love to do, which I've been blessed with all my life, so I know how that feels. And just go on to have just a joyous life. It's not all about the career, as of course you know.
Yeah.
So we extend this experience that we're able to provide as sort of a stepping stone to the rest of their life.
Yeah.
So we want them to be out there. We want them to now showing up is something that we talk about a lot these days, because that is, of course, the first step to being successful in anything you do. You've got to be out there. You've got to be there with the right attitude.
Right, absolutely. One of the things that happened and was a challenge to all of us was the pandemic, COVID-19 happening. And you as a university who had just freshly opened, it must have hit you guys pretty hard in the beginning. Were you prepared? How did you prepare for it? Tell us about that part of the pandemic.
I am so proud to say yes, we were prepared, even as a new university. So, we were lucky that we were just building this campus not too long ago, because we had the foresight to have very high technology in the classrooms and have, first of all, beautiful classrooms, but with all of the tools that we knew we needed. So the switch was maybe difficult for most, because we weren't ready for that. I mean, nobody was really ready for that. But for us, technically, we were. Yeah. Technically, we didn't miss a day. I think we might have been one of the few. We just never missed a day of class. Our faculty did a fabulous job in kind of transferring what they were doing on the ground to online. Now, we call this emergency remote teaching. This isn't instructionally design-led, special online curriculum, but we had wonderful faculty who they had such a great attitude about it. They did everything that they could to make the online experience enjoyable for our students. The technology is one part of it, but you really need to have the engagement and the personality and the creativity of the faculty and students in making that dynamic environment happen online. Yeah. So our faculty had to look for games, simulation, other engaging activities for the students. And I actually was in a few classes where I saw students participating. They can work on their phones, and it comes out actually sometimes on the screen, which is kind of cool. And I saw them all. They were all competing in some game in one of the business classes I went to. They were all sitting in their seats, and it was just so fun to watch. They were completely absorbed in this.
Yeah. So they all adapted, whether it's staff or students.
They all adapt. They're learning a lot also about online, and they're learning about technology, which, let's face it, they're going to have to know in any job they go into.
Yes. One of the things that when AUBH first opened up, I was there at the opening actually, you pride yourself on providing programs that are not futuristic, but are to prepare people for the future that's coming, the different technologies, different kind of things that might be facing us with with everything that's coming, all the progress that the world is seeing. So what can you tell us about your programs that you teach?
Well, first, we have a STEM focus and a business focus. Mm-hmm. So we have 3 colleges, Business and Management, College of Engineering, and the College of Architecture and Design. Mm-hmm. And they are meant to fill some of the gaps in the workforce, and of course responding to demand. Now, as it relates to those programs being relevant in the future, I think we all know that when you start a degree program, 4 years, it looks like something a little bit different, especially in these very fast-growing industries. Mm-hmm. But as I mentioned earlier, our job is to help these students gain a foundation and then have them learn to learn. Yeah. So they can then apply, whatever they have learned to whatever that next generation of, movement is in their industry. We also have a constant flow of new programs. And we are doing something very special. I'll say we're aligning our programs with the California State University programs, focus again on STEM and on business, for I think a very, very unique reason. Our students will be able to take some programs, some courses, maybe some terms with us, and then decide whether they would like to finish off in the United States.
There you go.
They can take 3 years with us maybe, and then go to the United States. They can take a couple of years. They can do a semester abroad maybe, or a summer abroad. All of these are in the planning now with our partner. This is why this partner is so important. And think about if you're a parent and you would like your child to have the U.S. experience, but maybe you could put it off a little bit when they've just finished high school, or maybe you would like your child to just be closer for the extra year, be around the family. They can still engage and have that same experience, and then seamlessly they can transfer down the road to California State University.
If there's something that is very obvious, is once you have that travel experience, whether it's for education, whether it's for just going for a vacation or whatever it is, it does make a huge difference in the way you view the world, you view your career, you view people and everything else.
Just the confidence,
yes.
just that.
Yes, by itself, or the risk that you take by doing that step really gets you out of your shell.
Exactly. And as an aside, somebody told me the other day that they studied in the United States, and one of the best things that they got out of it was a network and lifelong friends.
Yeah.
So if you're a parent, what an amazing opportunity to have your child stay safe, close and safe, and you know the school. You see American University right there in Rafah, so you know that this is a credible institution. But then have the experience of having them go to the United States again, somewhat protected under this association that we have with CSUN.
Yeah, and even having it's really a give and take relationship. Once you go to as I said, I am American educated, and a lot of my friends from the U.S. have come to Bahrain and to Saudi Arabia on what I said about the countries and having them there. So it's really a give and take relationship when it comes to that. But my next question to you is the future of education institutions in Bahrain is it's a very broad field. But what do you see for the future of Bahrain's educational institutions?
Well, again, I think I see them becoming a little bit more international. I don't know how you can not have that. You talked about your friends going back and forth, but this is an example of the mobility of credits, and I think that that's probably what will happen. It's wonderful to see all the partnerships that Bahrain has here on an academic level, the different schools that have a presence here, the different experiences that the students have, the different branch campuses that have found their way here. The students are getting an international experience already here, right? So I think we'll see a lot more of that. I think we'll see a lot more distance learning. I'm hoping that what we have been going through in the last maybe almost a year now will stick a bit. People will start to realize that there are some great value under certain circumstances for distance learning modality. It will get more sophisticated. We're doing assessments online with ProctorU from early on, but again, these are new technologies. I'm thinking that down the road, there'll be a lot of new technologies that all of the universities will get to share, and and it will become the new normal. Yeah.
I see that happening. It already is happening now, but I see that even like online institutions that were previously sidetracked, let's put it that way, and not focused on too much, like having an education online was different than having an on-campus education. Do you feel that the pandemic really created that area where there is more trust to online institutions now in online education, or is it something that's going to retract back to on-campus?
Oh, this is a great and maybe controversial question.
It is.
So let me start by saying that I've been in the online world since the 90s, believe it or not. And back then, it was really focused very much on the working adult, starting with the master's and the doctoral degrees, because they had the socialization, they had the maturity, they were now adapting to working in an environment while they were, or learning an environment while they were working. Students who need that socialization get some aspect of it online, but maybe not the whole picture. Even at the K-12 level prior to getting to university. I would say that there are positives and negatives in all different modalities. I think there's a lot to be gained from taking classes online. It is not a replacement for being face-to-face. I think this is a myth. This is a mistake people make when they judge it. It is not meant to be a replacement. It is something a little bit different. I do think that the skill sets you get from learning how to communicate online, learning how to write in a certain way, learning how to collaborate in a certain way, understanding a certain way. I think that this is important in your entire life, in your career, in your family life, in all of your relationships going forward. So I think that there is a great value to online. I hope it stays. My guess is that there will be some version of hybridity, so some different types of modalities mixed, and the students maybe will have their choice. But I do hope that it stays. I think it's a very, very positive thing for Bahrain.
Me too. AUBH does have some projects that are upcoming, future plans. Tell us about those and all of the future projects that you might think are important to share with us today, especially with people watching.
Okay, well, first I mentioned this alignment with the California State University at Northridge. We're just very excited about that. We know, we're welcoming a new family to the table here, so and a big family. I don't know if you know this, but the California State University at Northridge is one of the 23 campuses in their very large network system. It's the largest public university in the United States. So we have a huge portfolio of programs from which to draw. We've got an institutional relationship with them. So when we talk about different types of programs, it's more than that. As students can have a great experience there doing all the kinds of things that the students in the U.S. on that campus are doing. So that's a very, very important project for us. And as many programs as we can align, we would like to. As many students who would partake in the summer abroad, semester abroad, any joint projects, faculty exchange, whatever we can conceive, this would just be an amazing, amazing and unprecedented relationship here in Bahrain. So that's one very big thing. The second thing is new programs. We have just submitted 6 new programs to our regulatory body. We're very excited about them. They are programs that, again, align with the California State University at Northridge. Also programs that are very much needed here in the region. Because they haven't been approved, I won't tell you what they are, but you know that we are STEM and business related, so you can probably read between the lines. And we're looking to build that portfolio and provide as many options for our students as possible.
Great. Well, we've come to the end of our show. Thank you so much for being with us and answering all those questions. Is there anything that you would like to say to the prospective student of AUBH?
Yes, certainly. I think what I say to our students when I see them on campus, you've got to be out there, you've got to show up, you've got to be engaged in your education, be part of it. Don't be a passive viewer. This is your life. Jump in with both feet and come visit us on campus.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us today, and thank you for watching, and see you next week in another episode of Inside Edition.